Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Land dispute led to double murder in Tollgate, say police. The police say a land dispute is at the center of Tuesday's double murder in Tollgate, Clarendon. Evan Francis, 61, and Elisa Francis, 46, were gunned down at their gate on Duke Street sometime before 6 o'clock. Mr. Francis' son was shot and killed on Monday at Milk River in the parish. Senior Superintendent Carlos Russell, head of the Clarendon Police, said the incident is an indication of the callousness and our inability to deal with our issues in a peaceful way. He urged residents to find amicable ways of settling disputes instead of turning to violence. Superintendent Russell said he is confident that the police will make a breakthrough in their investigation into the murders and will have some success as it relates to arrests soon. Ongoing feud linked to shooting of delivery man in Content Garden, says police. The St. Anne police are theorizing that the shooting and wounding of a delivery man on Wednesday afternoon is linked to an ongoing feud occurring in Pineapple Place and Content Gardens in the parish. The 19-year-old delivery man was shot and wounded around 1 p.m. while delivering a meal in Content Gardens. Head of the St. Anne Police Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell said the shooting is linked to a series of other shootings taking place in the communities. We understand that he was called by a female for him to deliver a meal at a place in Content Gardens. When he turned up, a man pounced upon him, fired some shots, so he was hit, received gunshot wounds to the chest, was rushed to hospital where he was admitted in serious condition, he noted. The police have listed 5 persons of interest, with investigators want to speak with about the conflict that resulted in the shooting. SSP said those listed are to make contact with the authorized police by 8 a.m. on Friday. 5 persons that we are looking for are persons of interest. So we're going to ask them to turn themselves into the authorized police station this Friday. We have some interest in them, he said. Woman cries in court as she recalls her husband beats her. A 20-year-old mother of 2 brought down in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Tuesday after she recalled when her husband punched her in the face following an argument over food for the children. The woman, whose identity is being withheld, unable to hold back her tears, said her estranged husband would beat her in front of her children. The allegations are that on October 25th, an argument broke out between the complainant and Christian Christie over food for the children to eat. The court was told that during the argument, Christie punched her in her head and face. He was later charged with assault occasionally actually bodily harm. Despite pleading not guilty to the charge, Christie agreed to pay $40,000 in restitution for the physical and emotional injuries the complainant suffered. Madam complained, I understand that this must be very emotional for you. He has agreed to pay you $40,000. Is that all right for you? Senior Parish Judge Cole Montague asked, to which the woman answered, yes, Your Honor. Describing the relationship as very abusive, Christie's attorney told the court that when she spoke to her client at the police station following his arrest, he had gash on his head and bruises on his side, which she said was as a result of the fight between the two. Speaking of the abusive nature of their relationship, the complainant told the judge that during the altercation, they threw hot water on him, fighting back tears. She added that he beats me like a man. Both parties are to return to court on November 28 for restitution to be made. 5 robbery suspects arrested after getaway car runs out of fuel. 5 men, one of whom is wanted for murder in Portland, have been detained by police following the theft of 2 motorbikes in Golden Grove, St. Thomas. The men were held after their getaway car ran out of petrol, and a policeman recognized one of them. The motorcycles, which belonged to 2 farmers, were reportedly stolen between 10 p.m. on Tuesday and 6 a.m. Wednesday, the police said. Reports reaching reporters at both farmers parked their motorbikes at home and retired to bed. The following morning, the bikes were missing. Police said about 7:30 Wednesday morning, a policeman was traveling in his private motor vehicle to work when, on reaching the Pomfret Main Road, he saw 2 men, one of whom he knew, walking with a white plastic bottle of gas. The policeman accosted both men, took them into custody, and handed them to a passing patrol unit. The 2 men took the members of the patrol unit further on the Premptool Main Road to a parked white Toyota Probox motor car with 3 other men aboard. The 2 stolen motorbikes were found in the car. All 5 men were taken to the Yellows police station and placed into custody. The two formers later attended the police station and identified their bikes in the presence of the suspects. The men's identities were not released because they have not yet been charged. Titi Man and 5 others listed as persons of interest in Kingston Western Division. The Kingston Western Police have listed 6 individuals as persons of interest. The police believe they may be able to assist them in the ongoing investigations into crimes committed in the division. They are Tajay Freeman, otherwise called Weng, Lester Coke, Christopher Coke Jr., otherwise called Titi Man, Ryan Brimbridge, otherwise called Little Blacks, Dwayne Grant, otherwise called Billy, and Reddy. The police say several attempts have been made to contact them at their known addresses and by phone calls. However, their efforts have failed. These men are now being asked to make contact with detectives at the Denham Town Criminal Investigations Branch by 6 p.m. on Friday, November 4. In addition, anyone with information that can assist the investigation is asked to contact the Denham Town CIB at 876-948-6443, Crime Stop at 311, the JCF tip line at 811, or the nearest police station. Number of children seeking respiratory care at Spanish Town Hospital quadrupled over last 2 months. With cases of respiratory illnesses in children rising across the island, Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton is urging parents to be extra vigilant in protecting their children.
There is significant overcrowding, patients waiting, the pediatric youngsters, the general pediatric ward full, and the neonatal intensive care unit, which is overcrowded, with a low nurse to patient ratio. So these are all conditions that suggest a stress on the system, significant stress. It is customary this time of year, but based on what has been said, this year it's particularly difficult. So what we're trying to do is to improvise as best as possible. There are some requests at the regional authority that they're working on in terms of making the environment a little more comfortable, and then give advice to the general populace, parents in particular, to take whatever measures they need to protect their children on the prevention side. But however, if they're ill, they should take them to a doctor. And if they need hospital care, we have to find a way to make it happen. The tender process is taking place. I understand that the process was closed this week, and there are some documents that are now being reviewed to determine through the competitive procurement process who would qualify. So I'm hoping that when those documents are reviewed, we will have a successful entity, and then that would take us into the end of the year, where early new year, all being well, and we don't have to go back to market, then we can break ground for what will be a new and improved Spanish Town Hospital.
Meantime, Senior Medical Officer at the Spanish Town Hospital, Dr. Jacqueline Wright James, says the number of children seeking care for respiratory problems have more than quadrupled over the last 2 months.
The last 2 months has been quite brutal, especially in the Department of Pediatrics. Over the last 2 months, you would have seen, compared to last year, over 400% increase in the number of our cases. When we would normally admit like 90 patients, we admitted almost 200 last month. Predominantly these are children with respiratory problems, breathing, cough and cold, and as a result they're wheezing, they're getting very distressed, requiring oxygen. Some of them are very ill. And so we would have had a significant overrun on the infrastructure. We're not able to accommodate, we can't turn back anybody, so we have to try to be innovative and try to ensure that our patients get seen. So we do have a significant number waiting in A&E. Certain this morning for the children, we have up to 20 and more children waiting in the accident and emergency department for admission. Some of the kids are small, so it's hard. So we have to look out for them. But in terms of the mask wearing and the hand hygiene, those are basic things that we can promote in terms of prevention. I think prevention is the key. And we're not so sure in terms of the strain, but it is the flu season, so we recommend that too in terms of the vaccination. But in terms of hand hygiene, staying away from the crowds when necessary, those kind of things we would recommend for the parents and the children.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell